Hey, good evening everyone. This is a continuation of the Excel review that we started on Tuesday. We're going to do 9, 10 and the rest of the questions today. I'm going to do 9 and 10 in one archive, and then we'll continue with the rest in another one. Okay, here is now you're asked to go to the Simon sheet, which is on the assorted XLS file. So it is the other Excel sheet, and in there you're asked to calculate the weighted scores for 3 apartments. Just to give you a scenario, here is an individual who has 3 options for where to rent, and for each he is given a set of criteria or percentages that represent his or her priorities. So for him, for Simon, rent is very important, and he gives it 35%. Same thing as location. Location is important for him, maybe close to job, and then the parking, the curb, and the traffic all carry the same weight of just 10% each. Simon will go over the exercise of ranking each of the apartments based on from 1 to 5, with 1 being the poorest and 5 the greatest in terms of rent, location, parking, curb, and appeal. So you look at Grand Avenue and you ask yourself, is the rent like so high? If it is, and it looks like it is, he gives it a poor score of 1. Then location is excellent, so this is really close to work or nice view, so he gives it a 5. Parking is not that good, so 1. Curb appeal is 5, again because probably the location, and then very heavy traffic, so you give it a 1. So these are like the weights that are given to the first apartment. And you do the same for the second apartment and the third apartment. You're asked now to calculate the weighted average. What's the total score for each apartment? I can tell by looking at Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue has perfect location compared to the other 2. And in terms of traffic, Metcalfe and Sharon are the same. So, but I cannot make a decision just by looking at these numbers. Still, I have to look at an overall score for the 3 apartments and take the highest score. So what I'm going to do is calculate the weighted average. Okay. One thing you may not remember is that if you want to create a multi-line cell, you need to move your cursor to where you want to create that second line and hit Alt and Enter. And that will create the 2 lines in one cell for you. That way you can save some space and bring everything together in one screen, on one screen. So again, go to where you want to create that second line, hit Alt Enter. Okay, now calculating the weighted average, it is the score multiplied by the priority or the weight. So that's very easy. It's equal to the score multiplied by the weight, and I need to ask myself, do I have different set of weights that I will use for each alternative? The answer is no. That's actually against ethics. You should be using the same weights in all 3 situations, or you will be accused of being biased. If you change your criteria all the time, then that means you are not fair to the three alternatives. You see that, of course, happening all the time in politics. People change their weights or the importance of things depending on the situation. But anyway, so the weights should be the same. These set of weights should be the same. Where are my weights? They are in B8 up until B12. So I need to only be looking at B8, B9, B10, B11, B12. What do you hear being repeated? B. So I need to fix the B. And that's what we call mixed reference. One is relative, the row is relative. So I want to change the 8 next time to 9, 10, 11, 12. But the B is fixed. So I'm going to put a $sign before the B. Telling Excel, I want to multiply any score that I have for each of the alternative with the weight in column B. But the weights will change from 8 to 9 to 10 depending on which row I am on. So the weighted score for Grand Avenue in terms of rent is 0.35. I'm now going to drag that down in order to get the scores for all of the rest of the criteria, and I'm gonna sum to get a total score for Grand Avenue. So the score for Grand Avenue is 2.8. Now I want to copy all of these formulas by highlighting them and hit Control C, and then go and paste them for Metcalf by hitting Control V, and then again for Sharon Road and hitting Control V. So see, in just one or a couple of steps, I've calculated the weighted average and the score, total score for three alternatives. I could have, of course, repeated the formula several times, but an easy way is just write the formula correctly using the mixed reference and then copy the formula to the rest of the column and then take it and copy it to other columns. Now the second part says insert a column chart to compare the weighted scores for the three apartments. I'm only looking at weighted scores. So I'm going to highlight the criteria. Without highlighting the total for the alternatives. And now I realize that a better title would have been Grand Avenue, Metcalf, and Sharon. But anyway, we can do that in the graph. So once I highlighted all of the scores, I'm going to click on Insert, and I want a column chart, so I'll choose column chart. And now I have the ranking of the three apartments based on rent, location, parking, curb appeal, and traffic. I'm gonna go and change that to Grand Avenue. And Metcalf. And Sharon. And now when I look at my graph, everything is perfect. So that's all for question number 9 and 10.